Hi guys. I got a bit of feedback from my sister about my raw uh, family law type response after my run. So I thought I would have a shower, maybe do my hair, and just do a little bit more of a calm, a level-headed, zero swears approach, just so that people don't think that I'm kind of unhinged, even though in my heart I'm a little bit unhinged. But anyway, so I've written out a few from my I've been told a lot about what other people think. I can only speak to my experience. So what I've written here, why the family law system is broken. First and foremost, I found that it's money. So what I found is that if you have money, you can create any version of the truth that you want to pay for and provide like doctrine evidence for. It seems that this is totally okay. So another thing that I've found as an issue is there's too much focus on adversarial instead of families as a united front, even when families break apart. I think this is particularly critical given the rising rates of divorce and that families are separating at a higher rate these days than they ever have in the past. So I think this is going to be a bigger problem than it's even been in the past. And certainly the way that it's being dealt with now, for me, is not really satisfactory. Another thing that I encountered while self-representing is really dated and archaic systems. So it's like if you were like in 2000 and you were on TAFE and you were using their online system. Anyone who's been to university in the last 5 years will know that the online systems are actually not too bad. I don't know what they're like now, but I went to uni and I experienced the online systems. All we need is like a real effort to kind of modernize the legal process online so that it's not just for those who've done a uni degree or a uni unit on how to manage those systems. It really shouldn't be that difficult. Another thing that I have issue with and I think is wrong is the way that the communication is done in a legal proceeding. So the emails, the formality, it's not very human and it doesn't provide very much it doesn't feel very warm for those going through it. And a lot of people going through it are really struggling with a lot of feelings of frustration and anger. And I know a lot of men are self-harming. I shouldn't say men, I'm sure parents. I try very much to disconnect myself from the man-woman kind of fight. I feel like the more we go into the future, the more that this is going to be a parent problem and less of a man-woman problem. And I think that the focus on that, the man-woman type argument type vibe, is probably where we've been going wrong with trying to change the system. So what I've written here is what we need. Now, this is a bit of a pipe dream. I've written remove the lawyers. Now, if you've ever been self-represented in a legal case and been questioned for 6 hours by a lawyer on the stand about your parenting, I can tell you that it is not a fun time. Now, I think if we need lawyers in this system, I think that everyone should get one lawyer and it should be provided for everyone. Like you can't say that there should not be resources dictating like an imbalance in power, and it's too important. Family, children, you can't put money, this human developed concept, this system on top of family. It doesn't work like that. You've got to put family first. You've got to put family above money, above education, opinion, everything. It's family, then it's everything else. And I think that needs to be acknowledged, I guess. Another thing which I alluded to in kind of what I was saying before, we need to be able to speak openly and freely about our experience to gain support and guidance on a community level. So for me, I'm kind of like an open book at times. Sometimes when I feel like I can't figure something out on my own, I just open up and I just try and seek advice and light from other people who, want to share. And I think that's very valuable. And that's like a community thing. And not being able or not feeling comfortable or safe to share my experience has been really difficult. And I think that is kind of a mistake. I'm not sure how to navigate that situation and what that looks like, but I do feel like something needs to be done there. what I've written here is some kind of system to ensure that there's recourse for people who are not being truthful and those who would seek to work against united families and pragmatism. Okay, that's my frustration, because I feel like I've been trying to be pragmatic and trying to be like kind of cooperative in every opportunity for years and years, and just getting absolutely nothing. And no one in the legal system has made me feel like I'm being rewarded for my pragmatism or rewarded for my cooperation or trying to make, move on from things and make things work. And it's just very disheartening, especially over the long term. When you've been going for years and years, and it's really disheartening, and it really becomes difficult to maintain a positive attitude, when something negative happens, to try and be positive. It's harder and harder. So I think that there needs to be some kind of, recognition of positivity or optimism. I don't know. Anyway, what I'm going to do, right, so this is the last part. I'm going to keep self-representing. I'm going to get back into the fight. Basically, I'm up to a very complicated legal document that I submitted 4 times. I rewrote it 4 times, and then I submitted it, and then it rejected again, and now I have to rewrite it again because it was not to the standard. And I knew that I could do it if I really applied myself, but I just didn't want to give my life to this again. But I need to. It's it. So I'm probably going to go on a medical certificate and just take it as easy as I need, try and push through this and really try and give it my all again, which I've done again and again and again and again and again. And it's been really difficult for me because I feel like I've put my heart and soul into so many different documents and statements and affidavits, and I'm yet to get a single response, So it's really, it takes a lot out of you and you don't get much back. And so I'm going to continue to do that. I guess I'm insane or something. Anyway, and I wrote a little bit here. I'm going to keep doing this because it's hard for me to want to be motivated to work when I'm being forced to pay child support to a situation where I don't agree with what's happening. I have, perfect evidence, stories and time. And like if someone was willing to sit down and let me explain what's happened and go through things and really take the time that I would give for myself in my life to talk about this, I almost am certain that I would be able to show what's happening, but they'd refuse to give the time. They want to use lawyers and this and that, and until they're willing to let me feel like I've got my message across and spoken to them and they see me as a human being, I can't work and give my money blindly to that. It's too disheartening, and it just makes me want to give up and not want to live and not want to get out of bed in the morning. And so, I'm basically, for me, I feel like I'm forced into this position and I don't want to be there. I want to be working. I want to be a part of society, but I can't at the moment because the act of getting up in the morning, and maybe I'm pathetic, is too hard when I'm losing such a percentage of my effort to a situation where I feel like I have no representation. And I've been wronged in such a deep and scarring way. And my son is like, I speak to him once every 2 weeks, and he, I've disappointed him in many times, and every time that it's not really been my desire to, or I suppose it could be in some way my fault, but I've always been, or I found that I've let him down from things that I've said, which I believed at the time that I could do or would be done. But then through no fault of my own, I've been forced to a position where I cannot do them, and he gets disappointed, and I just feel that disappointment. And that disappointment that he has, I feel that, and I feel sad, and I want to repair this chasm. And yeah. Anyway, so thanks for listening. If you're listening, share it if you like, or don't, whatever. Thank you for listening. Cheers. Bye.